Oh, hey guys, how you doing?
Hey.
Good.
Oh,
How are you, Mass BonkTable?
doing pretty good. Confident Conquest Ben. Have Scooby-Doo Pants Chinchilla over there.
Wow, we're doing great,
We did it.
So, in your professional opinion,
Oh god.
is cocaine the best drug?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I actually did tell people today about the jorts incident at your work.
The
and now
overjorts?
now they want over jorts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the overjorts were fantastic.
A classic.
So, no, we actually had to do a thing in a discussion class thing once, where if there were only 10 drugs left, which 10 would you pick? And I don't think anybody had cocaine on there.
Why not?
Well, because it actually makes you make really hard decisions because there's a whole bunch of things you're just not going to be able to treat anymore. So I'm pretty sure I had morphine in mind though, at least because you can do a surgery with just morphine.
Like what, to save someone, or like morphine in your blood and you have to do the surgery to somebody for something else?
You can put somebody into a position where you can do a reasonable surgery on them with just morphine.
Oh, okay. I thought it was like, oh, getting a tooth pulled, that's a type of surgery or something. I'm gonna take a bunch of morphine for my own ridiculous pain. Let's go to town,
So
guy. Getting the teeth
morphine top
out.
tier.
Oh, I would not go that far, but if you had to make a lot of cuts, it probably makes the list somewhere in there. So does aspirin, though.
I mean,
I love aspirin.
Acetaminophen and ibuprofen have to make the list just because the usages are just so expansive.
You probably don't keep both, to be honest with you. If you only have 10, that was the hard part. You start making this list of the things you want, and you quickly end up in the 30s, and then you're just arguing with your 5 other people in your group about which drugs you think should make it. It was a really fascinating project.
Fair enough.
I see you get to do the fun stuff wherever you studied at.
But not cocaine. We didn't do cocaine where I studied at.
Well, the school didn't. You might have. Heyo.
I did not. The guys that lived across the hall from me, diagonally freshman year, really liked to do mushrooms. So, and then they'd want to go places, and I didn't want them to drive, so I would be driving 4 dudes to the Arboretum while they were high on mushrooms. But also, I drove a Geo Tracker at the time, so we'd have 5 full-sized adults in a Geo Tracker, and 4 of them would be out their minds.
Okay. I mean, that sounds like an entertaining day.
It was free entertainment for me, and they usually bought me lunch, so...
Sweet. Look at that time we got sweaty in a truck together.
Basically, just herding people around the Arboretum with telling me about how they can hear the colors of the flowers. It was fantastic.
Probably a better chore than you were to get from a standard guide.
Absolutely. We should get on topic though. Have we started? You got to do your introduction. I don't know if we've started. This is just the B-roll of us just babbling on before we start.
Yeah, well, we figured out that I should immediately start recording before starting the call because some of the wildest shit gets said.
Yeah, we're gonna get some. We're gonna get some stories about my college. Apparently.
Yeah, they'll be like, "What do you do for a living?" It's like, well, play with prescription drugs.
So today,
we're
going to be talking about missions. Probably the draft a little bit, and just whether or not we like it. I do. Spoilers. And
see, I want to know who doesn't like it,
and which ones that you probably shouldn't do.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Okay, so I think a lot of people don't like it because they just aren't using it, right? It's an extra step to list building, and they're just playing games and randomly determining a scenario and a map. But if you actually bring it in as a factor to your list, you're going to enjoy it a lot.
So here's my thought on draft. If mission draft, because I know somebody on one of the Discords was like, well, then you could end up playing the same scenario, 3 rounds in a row. And I thought to myself, if that means I don't have to play supply drop ever, I will make that sacrifice.
Hello and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Mass, this is our Starcraft podcast, and joined with me today is Competent Conquest Ben.
Yo.
Scooby-Doo Pants Apex Chinchilla.
Cheers.
Okay, and as Ben previously stated, in the pre-ramble, we're doing missions. You're welcome for that terrible pre-ramble.
And deployment.
And deployment. And draft. And maybe something else. There's a text message in here somewhere. Yes, and maybe we talked about draft. Okay, so Ben, you get to start because you have theories, and I drank a bunch of coffee now, just drinking water. So you're up.
Okay. So let's start with a couple things that I find interesting. I'm going to start with divide and conquer. One of the things I find interesting about this is that there are 4 and 5 turn game lengths, but they all have the same total supply. Basically, divide and conquer, because it uses table quarters, there's no real reason to not be scoreable turn 1. So they just effectively started it on turn 2. And I think that's interesting because some lists do a lot better if they deploy more things on 1 than others. Like, if you wanted to run double max Hydras, you could deploy double max Hydras and double Queens on 1, which is frankly horrifying. But when you play it as a 6 supply list, the staggering of those things makes it not, or like a 6 supply scenario, the staggering of those things make it not as potent a combination. So if you're playing towards a certain mission, I think like there are list design quirks that come in.
Yeah, there definitely are. And it's especially when there's kind of odd number things. Like right now, Hydras are the only 3, the max Hydras, which makes them really awkward if you're not deploying them on 1 because you only get 2 extra supply around. So you're waiting for things to die or leaving a slot open, which both work. Having played the double max Hydras, it just isn't. It's always weird. It's kind of why I like 1 max and then mins to go with it, because it gives you more flexibility and more action, so you can shoot different targets. But yeah, the 8 supply on 1 means you can bring in a horrifying amount of firepower right away, which is really, really interesting. So I think before we dig too deeply into them, do we want to talk about like how the draft works?
Sure.
Yeah.
So,
however, overall, I do believe like the missions, the deployments, and the draft all have to work together as one to make this whole system work properly. As a caveat,
yes,
like having a good understanding of like what deployments you want to play on or play with your cards to actually do well with the draft. And I think that's like a big thing that a lot of players currently are at. Of, as been previously mentioned, they're just rolling a scenario and rolling up a deployment. They're not actually looking at it. It's because a lot of people currently don't have the level of games to really make that cognitive choice and also what they want to do with their list. A lot of people are just simply enjoying the game currently. And this is why this is such a great topic, because
us included.
Yeah, because to be honest, that's a lot of the time we do, just because it's way easier. But the draft system is really interesting, and I think it can be a very good staple of play as the game grows and the community grows with the game.
Yeah, I mean, as a content creator, a lot of the time I will intentionally not want to play the same mission multiple days in a row. And, you know, if you and I were to play a lot of games, I think we would probably be choosing between 2 missions a lot of the time.
Yeah, because supply, or is it supply? Was that one what's terrible again? Supply drop.
Supply drop.
Supply drop.
Yeah, I mean, supply drop's never going to be. I guess we can start there. Like, supply drop just generates random scenario value. You have to be in a random place at a random time, and you can't plan for it round after round. And it can just be very lopsided. Like, if you just happen to be all in on an objective, and there's like 2 left, and it's like, oh, well, I guess the other one got rolled this turn, so I'm just going to lose like 3 victory points or 4 victory points or something, and my opponent's going to have a whole turn to collapse on and fight over the one that's going to be 4 next turn. It just sucks.
So here's a question I have for you about supply drop. So, like, you would pick, as part of your list, you pick 2 mission cards, you pick 2 deployment cards. You get to the table, you roll off with your opponent. The winner of that roll off gets to either choose which color they are, which I assume also means which table side you're getting.
It does, yeah, because the objective or the table deployments
like
specify a color. So you're picking which side is yours, so you're picking which part of the table is yours.
Which can be quite relevant as well.
Yeah, especially if we get to like proving grounds.
Yes, or you're getting to or you're getting to choose which part of the draft you control. You're either going to get to pick the mission or pick the deployment. The person who is not picking gets to eliminate 2. The person who is picking gets to pick from the other 2 that are left. So when it comes to supply drop, and I would never want to play supply drop, but I can see a situation where you would consider putting supply drop in your list if you were playing in an area where you know you have a lot of really, really strong players. Because you cannot plan for how supply drop's going to go. Like, supply drop is going to make it so there is the chance that, like, supply drop wins you itself because it's garbage.
You do this to fuck with the big fish.
No, like, really, this is like an equalizing sort of thing, because, like, supply drop is adding an element of randomness that your opponent can't control, and the way those drop could just get you enough points to sneak you through. Like, I think there's a case why you'd want supply drop, and I think that's it. Either that or you love randomness and you're just going pure chaos.
Okay, that player exists. We all know that.
Yeah, the pure chaos player exists, but I think, if, like I said, if you're, in an environment where there's a bunch of really, really strong players and you're a step or 2 below that, like, you could put supply drop in and say, well, I could make people play supply drop, and this scenario is reasonably challenging to play well.
Right, you can never make people play supply drop unless they also brought supply drop.
Yeah, I mean, it does kind of, they will have to ban it, I suppose.
Well, so they either ban it or select the other one.
Yeah, I guess, what would you pick to pair it with? I'd probably Divide and Conquer.
Yeah, this is
and have a list set up to play Divide and Conquer.
Yeah, it would have to be a Zerg player who's got a list set up for Divide and Conquer. They're running like double domineering presence or something, which is absurd.
And really good at DNC.
I mean, it's very good in general, but it's very, very good in DNC.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a Zerg list who's doing that, who's trying to be like, okay, if I run into let's assume that they don't think that they're a weaker player, but at the very least, they're like, if I run into a really bad matchup, I might be able to try to skirt it with supply drop. They still can never create that situation.
Yeah, because it'll just get banned. But
the only way to force supply drop is if it's in both players' lists, and then you select the bans. Then you can ban the other 2,
and then it's just supply drop.
Right, and then they can choose from supply drop or supply drop.
Right. You'd want to ban out the other 2 and force it to be between Divide and Conquer and supply drop, where no one's in their right mind's going to pick supply drop. So then you play Divide and Conquer where you feel advantaged, which still is a reason to put supply drop in there.
It is, yeah. There are reasons,
but you run the risk of having to play supply drop. Yeah,
right.
Your opponent's just like, fuck it, we're playing supply drop.
Roach spam is actually also very good on supply drop.
Was it burrow ambush?
They can be everywhere, and they're tanky, and they're like not that big of a deal. So like they're
cheap as far as their units go. They're reasonably you can put a lot of roaches out, and then people have to fight them.
And they can just burrow because it doesn't matter if you have the zone. Like, you can grab the zone and then just burrow on it, so
They
people
just burrow
can't just
later.
like plink you off of it. So it is still a good, like, supply drop is a reasonable scenario for Zerg because of those aspects. It's
Well, the
also
thing
a
is, you
reasonable
can't-
scenario for Protoss because they just have the ability to get wherever. But especially like adepts are pretty mobile, so you can move them onto a zone to try to take it, and then spooky ghost off of it onto another zone for the next round, or into a middle ground area, so that you don't ever spend time holding a zone that doesn't matter to you.
That's fair. It's interesting.
Before we continue, we should discuss how the draft system actually works so that people understand how it functions.
Yeah, well, I thought.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I
we
did
actually did it though. We don't go, hey,
Okay, we'll do
we'll
go
do
step by
an
step.
example. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Apex, why don't you do this? You seem to you have it down the
So-
most and might be on the page.
as part of your list building, you would choose 2 missions and 2 deployment maps. When you get to the table, greet your opponent, shake hands, say hi, do all the normal social things you should do with your opponent. You're going to immediately standard roll off 2 dice, highest total wins. The winner of this gets to choose what player they are, red or blue, which does let them choose table side. Or they get to choose which of the elements, either mission or deployment, they will control. So both players put their 2 missions and 2 deployments out on the table, face up. So you see, 4 missions, 4 deployments. The person who does not have control of mission picks 2 missions and just vetoes them. They're out. The one who has control looks at those 2 that are left and says, this is the one we are playing. And then you do the same thing with deployment, but the players have the opposite roles. The person who picked mission is going to veto a deployment. The person who vetoed missions is going to pick which deployment you're actually playing. And I believe you do it in that order too, but I probably should have looked at that part first. Yes, you resolve mission first and then you resolve deployment. So you know what the mission is when you are picking deployment.
And
There you go.
that is all
works.
very important. One thing that I think is also interesting is if we both bring the same cards, right? Like, let's say we're playing a pure mirror match, so we both have Divide and Conquer and Supply
Hold
Drop.
position. Oh, yeah, sure, supply drop, because that's what we've been talking about.
Yeah, because memes. And we're both on Typhoon and Gauntlet, for example.
Yes.
Whoever gets to veto just gets to choose what the scenario is.
Yes. The individual players must have different missions and different deployments. You can't say put Divide and Conquer in there twice, but nothing would prevent it from if both players happen to have hold position in there for the vetoing player to just leave hold position, which does, yes, allow them to basically pick the mission.
So I'm interested to see if we're going to start how many more missions are going to come up in the format, because I feel like right now there are going to be a lot of times where like you're playing like front lines or hold position. You're going to play those 2 scenarios a lot because a lot of people are going to pick them. They're
the
good
easiest
skill test scenarios, right?
I think they're also kind of the easiest to understand. Like, there's not too much crazy going on. There's no extra actions. There's no supply drop chicanery. It's a standard 5 rounds, so you don't have the weirdness with Divide and Conquer. I think those 2 are the ones I would consider like the most standard missions.
Yeah. I played a Gather the Resources
I think Divide
mission.
and Conquer will be in a lot of lists because I think if you plan for it in your list building, it's very good. It can be very advantageous for lists that planned for it.
Oh yeah, I agree. I played a Gather the Resources game yesterday, and just medics are good. Terran medics are good just to suck up resources and just score points that way. Yeah, and really,
realistically, Terran should absolutely have Gather as one of theirs. Almost always. Obviously, not always. And if you're like Quad Goliath, then it doesn't make as much sense. But if you're running 2 to 3 medics, they're the best unit to be gathering resources with.
Yeah. I also found out
do anything else.
Gather the Resources. You really don't care about your scenario markers except to just prevent your opponent from getting points. Like, you don't actually really need to sit on them or anything. You just need to keep your opponent away from them or to contest them at a point if your opponent's going for it, kind of thing.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you care about stopping your opponent from getting on them.
Yeah, you don't really need to sit there the entire game and be like, either eat up those points or actually battle it out with your opponent over there. Yeah. It was once I realized that, it was like, oh, I should stop caring about mine just to like, or to contest it for a turn or like flip it for a turn so they lose out on 2 points to get ahead.
Well, your missions in your draft are unique to the list, right? So in a 2-list format, you'd actually have a different set for each list. Am I understanding that correctly?
The army builder.
Yeah, so if you're playing Terran and you've got a bio list, which you probably will for some time, even if they get more mechanical stuff, you just always have gather the resources as one of the options in your bio list. Because that's where you'll have medics.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a little bit list dependent for sure, as far as, especially as we get more units involved. I'm wondering if maybe we see a few more missions in like an organized play pack.
Well, something interesting about the missions is that if you're in the, I guess in the army builder, there's community missions that are just full of stuff that the community's made. So if you really want to try something right now, you have a ton of stuff to try and play. Some of these have like little hearts on them, or people played them and like upvoted them. There is the mission of the week, Archon's favorite, and then like a bunch of missions. So there's a bunch of stuff that's community driven that people have made. Same with the deployment maps. There's a bunch of community deployment maps. Some of them are actually kind of interesting to look at and try and be like, okay, I see how that's going. And I also like that for adding more to the game just from the community, because it's like there's probably over 50 for each. Like there's quite a bit.
Yeah, some of them are decent. There's a few that are, very intended to be like the 3-player. Like the Archon favorite right now is like a 3-player thing.
Yeah, and that's fine because there are people already asking for multiplayer formats and how to do that, and this just helps those people play it because that's what they're looking for out of the game.
Yeah, people should absolutely be able to play the game any way they want.
Oh, for sure.
Like that's not the way we play primarily. Like we want to play heads up tournament play. Or at least that's what I generally prefer. And, based on the games that we have played, I think that's probably true for the two of you.
Yeah. But yeah, official stuff, I do agree. This could easily get filled up more, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of these community missions or deployments got moved into here, because I think that was something that Archon actually wanted to do if it's good enough and people liked it and actually fit how they wanted to be do their official missions.
Yeah, there are a few that are like pretty reasonable as far as close enough to what you'd expect for a standard tournament style without a bunch of weird stuff going on that's just going to cause a bunch of confusion. Because there's a bunch of them that just have like weird supplies. Even if the objectives are where it's just 42 supply, put everything on the table. But there's also a few of them that are like full size, but like +1 supply per round, which seems really horrid.
Yeah. Whoa, some of these are gain ones. Yeah, some of these are also a little wordy.
yeah, there's a few. You got to keep it relatively straightforward. But we're off. We should start with missions? Do we just want to pick a mission and talk through it? Because we started with Divide and Conquer and then we got totally off base.
Okay,
we sidetracked ourselves.
Should we start? Okay, so we started Divide and Conquer. Is there anything we want to do? You want to like do a little bit more deeper into this before we move on to the next one?
So I actually have a question about Divide and Conquer.
Here we go.
So every other mission, right, where you score by controlling objectives has sticky objective markers. But Divide and Conquer specifically says a unit has to control the mission marker to be extra supply. Does that mean the unit has to stay on the marker at the end of the turn?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Just making sure I was reading that correctly. So
yeah, because the markers don't give you anything.
Yeah, so like the sticky marker is irrelevant. You have to have the unit on it, except for the neutral one at 5. That one's still sticky because that one you just get BP4.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just a unit controlling it counts as an extra supply for table quarters. So obviously it doesn't, it doesn't matter if you as a player already control it.
Yeah. So Divide and Conquer is a good choice if your list has ways, like say the Queen, to improve the supply of a unit, or you can have a unit of Hydras be 4 or 5 supply if they can sit on a zone, which they might be able to do because they're Hydras. That's really hard to overcome as far as taking control away from that.
I had a 2-man unit of Hydras. I believe that was up to 5 supply because it was on 2 zones and had been queened.
Perfect. So yeah, you can get it.
By the way,
you can get a ton of supply potentially out of some of these high value units. And if you're mobile enough to jump table quarters fairly quickly. And I think every faction to one degree or another can do that, because you can get raiders where you need them. And raiders are 1 full supply regardless of how many are left. So they're pretty good at holding an objective that is otherwise mostly uncontested.
Yep.
They're good.
Protoss can get whatever the hell they want.
I'm reading it now. I think it doesn't matter if you control multiple markers. Just if you control a marker. Yeah,
so I would think you would satisfy that, so you'd just get 1. So you'd be 4, but still, 2 Hydras being 4 supply is really hard to overturn.
But couldn't you also put on like 3 units on that 1 marker, and all 3 of those units are also +1 supply?
Yeah, definitely,
because they are still controlling it. Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can do that. This is another one where Jimmy's keeping your supply up if you're Terran, which is pretty nice for having.
I love having
partially damaged units still getting you points.
Yep. His bubble of the 0 supply guys still count as 1 is fantastic. Because you can just throw like the remnants of units onto zones and be like, all right, you have to kill them now because I will take it.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for Terran with Divide and Conquer is that Terran's really trying to gain value out of things like cheaper medics or cheaper supply medics and higher offense per supply than most factions to gain an advantage, a supply advantage early. And Divide and Conquer doesn't work with that, right? Because you're already starting effectively a turn into it where they haven't had any time to kill anything to try to gain that edge from being a ranged superiority army.
But also I find with the first turn of the game is usually a lot of setup to where you're going to go and what you're going to take over and what area of the board you're going to be have your area of control over. And you're going to project your threat out from that side of the table. While Divide and Conquer really wants you to get down and dirty right off the bat, what can be kind of I found a little bit of trouble as a Terran player simply because you need that first turn to establish yourself and then project outward from there. While this is already starting on turn 2 where scoring is happening.
Yeah, and Bio-Ball does tend to be a little bit condensed, which can make it a little bit harder to sprawl as much to not give your opponent ability to get 2 quarters.
Yeah. I found with if you're going to play Divine Conquer and running the Bio-Ball, you kind of just rush up the middle so you can take over the neutral zone and then try and score 2 of the other sides with the neutral zone to get that point lead that way while fighting. Sense. The issue is with Terran, because it's a gunline faction, you gotta back up. You gotta generate space. That means you're giving up the ground you gained early on in the game to then back up, so you're taking less damage as things try and jump on you. And it's still a lesson I'm learning to this day is to do the kite to back up. Because I got a lot of muscle memory from War Machine where it's all about aggression and where I just keep pushing forward, where there are times where it's either A, I should just sit there basically and not really do anything, or B, just kind of back up 3 inches with my unit and I'm in a much better spot. I find that difficult, and Divide and Conquer doesn't abdicate its way to what Terran Bio-Ball wants to do, of take up a bunch of ground in the first 2 turns and then back it up 3 and 4 before finishing off turn 5, scooping in on a couple objectives or clearing out your opponent that way. That's kind of what I've been finding as the
only being
rhythm
4
of
turns
Terran
really makes that hard. It messes with your rhythm with the loss of the first turn setup.
Yeah, and that's why I see Divide and Conquer being a really good Zerg choice, just because of all their burrow ambush, the worms spitting out guys. It's fantastic for all of that. you can get into places, you can start jumping off of things, and you can start taking up that supply in those quadrants to control them or contest them even.
Yeah, I do think there are probably Terran lists like that could jam a lot of supply. If you were running 3 or 4 like max Marines, you'd probably be more interested in playing Divide and Conquer.
Yeah.
The other thing about Divide and Conquer and Zerg, burrowed units still score, I think, for you. Like they can't control mission markers, but they still count as supply. So like, you can throw burrowed roaches in a quarter, and if you can get a queen to them, that's 2 supply, and those things are a nightmare to kill.
Burrowed. Gonna go to burrowed.
Yeah.
A burrowed.
You can't control a mission marker, but you're still supply on the table.
This is true for all purposes. The current supply value tree is 0 for disengaged checks. A burrowed unit cannot control or contrast mission markers. Yeah, you are right. So like, you're not gonna get the +1 for being on the zone. But you're still there.
Yeah, you're still there, and like I said, if you've got a queen in range where you can make them supply 2, they're kind of
and
nightmare.
You can potentially even run. If you do need that extra supply, and they ignored them because they were burrowed roaches.
Yeah.
At the end of the phase, you can just run them onto a zone, and they will pop up and be even be 3 supply.
Yeah. There's a lot of different things you can do with Zerg on Divide and Conquer that are interesting. I need to play this mission more, apparently.
Yeah. Interesting about burrowed. The last line of burrowed, it's always in the last line, as everyone knows. If a burrowed unit is engaged at the start of a combat phase, it must be activated but cannot perform a close combat attack in its burrowed state. The unit perform closed ranks in its first step, which immediately removes the burrowed status. Once the status is removed, the unit completes the remaining steps to close attacks normally. If the unit does not or cannot perform closed ranks, it does not attack.
Yep, it just sits.
Yeah.
So if you were able to engage all 3 models while they're burrowed...
Yeah, because
they cannot unburrow,
Yeah, then they won't be able to unburrow because they can't perform closed ranks.
Yeah, and because closed ranks actually needs a model not in base-to-base contact to move to teleport the other stuff. Because if you're in base-to-base combat and closed ranks, you're pinned, and you can't actually move to do the cohesion thing. That's kind of interesting. And also, it's optional, so you can opt out of it. There's been times where it's like, this is just better if I don't because of a guy on the zone and he needs to not move right now.
Fair. Anything else about Divide and Conquer?
If you had to rate it out of 10, what would you rate it?
7.
I was also going to go with a 7. I like Divide and Conquer. I think it's interesting. It's a change up from the rest of them. And it's got a lot of interesting things to go on with it.
I was going to give it an 8.
I would probably rate it higher if there were more lists that had play into it. But right now, it's pretty much just, do you have the ability to raise supply on your units? Because that's really where the value comes in.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Frontlines. Woo!
Wait, you didn't rate it, Mass.
I said 8.
We need to hear your... Oh, did you say 8? I missed
said
that.
8.
All right.
I think it's... I hate playing on it because I play Terran. It's an 8.
I hate playing on it because
I think like Hellions will be more interesting on it, or like some other stuff. Like a lot of the game and a lot of my stuff is like, I know the game is expanding. I'm really interested in what the other units are going to bring and how that's going to affect the game and how that's going to change list building, missions, scenario, terrain, all that stuff, because that's going to be really interesting. And we all know it's coming down the pipeline. Like I'm really excited for it. So I'm just like, yeah. My opinions on the scenario are probably going to change for the faction that I main as more stuff comes out. I think it's really strong for Zerg right now. Protoss probably has fine game into it. Terran has a bit of a tougher time, but I'm always curious, and that's fine. Like that, it's all right if you have a tougher time in certain scenarios or mission deployments. That's just part of the game.
And that's part of the reason the draft is so important.
Yeah,
because
so you can play supply drop.
Right, you could be like, well, I guess I'll play supply drop because I'm not disadvantaged into it. We're both dealing with randomness together.
Yeah. That the secret system.
I mean, in a lot of ways, supply drop's actually pretty good for Terran. Weirdly, because a lot of the time you can throw Rainer's Raiders on something and then like just the next turn just drop ship them off of it. to grab something, and Terran, in a lot of ways, doesn't want to be sitting on zones for a long time. So the fact that they don't have to care about a zone once it's been triggered can be very relevant for Terran.
Yeah. I would play a couple supply drop games just to really hammer in, like get hammering the feeling of what that game is, because it's just gonna be wild.
I played enough 3 flags. I don't need to.
you still have 3 flag PTSD. This poor guy.
I do. I kind of hated that. We should jump to Frontlines because that's the next one in alphabetic order.
Yay!
It is.
All right. So if you're playing Frontlines, all the mission markers are active. It is a 6 supply scenario. You get 2 additional supply per round, and you get 5 rounds. You score VPs equal to the enemy supply destroyed. Woo! From the start of the second round, you gain 1 VP for each controlled marker, and you gain an additional 2 VPs if a marker you gain control of was from the opponent. Still has the additional condition of if you have 10 points over, you win the game. So this is the go control stuff to get a point, and then go steal your opponent's stuff. So it really incentivizes you of just like pushing forward to take your opponent's space.
Yeah, I mean, this
it also
is a
helps
Protoss, baby.
Oh god, yeah, because you're warping all over the fucking place.
You're very good at getting to all the markers, and the way zealots work, they're not that good at getting off the markers. They're kind of good about fighting over one. So they're usually pretty chill. Like once if they've taken a marker from you, you're taking it back from zealots is it's an uphill battle.
It's a pain. Like that first zealot has 7 health, and he is not going away anytime soon because there's still 2 supply until you kill the second zealot.
Yep.
You got to kill like 11 wounds worth of stuff before they go, and there's enough defensive tech on zealots that they're fine for a while.
It's hard to take zones. It's hard to kick Protoss off of zones. It's relatively easy. I mean, easy as the game is, right? But you can fight Protoss for your zones. You can keep them off of them. You can bubble them out. You can shoot at them while they're trying to approach. Like there are answers to that. Kicking Protoss off of a zone that they have, or even getting to it once they've taken it and pushed past it, those are not easy things to do.
There's some place tech that can work, but also they'll just go back and fight you.
They have place tech too, though. Like if you blow Ready for Dust off, they'll just dump some stuff back on the zone to like fight over it once, and you'll probably have to split your forces too much.
Yeah, what's a problem?
The
you don't actually have to push the zealots that far, right? Because you're going to take your own zones. You can have the zealots defending those, and you need adepts to get what, 1 steal or 2?
Yeah,
I don't think you do that.
And it's really hard to come back from that.
I think you deploy your adepts and stalkers and have them running up the table and doing their speed shenanigans with blink and spooky ghosts. You drop your pylon and you start feeding your opponent's zealots from the pylon if it's in a nice spot that can affect at the middle or a zone on your opponent's side of the table. So then they have control of 3 to 4 scenario elements. Once you have control of 3 to 4 scenario elements, you're in a very good spot to win the game.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a mission I would like.
It doesn't care about the color of the mission markers, so you can take your close ones, and then you do you reinforce zealots if they try to dive your lines, and the goal is you hold the ones that are easiest for you to reinforce because you're Protoss, so you're most likely outsupplying your opponent. So those reinforcements are going to be relevant, and then you fight tooth and nail over the center, and you use pylon to be able to reinforce there, and you just get a lot. It's a very good scenario for you. You get a lot of value out of that.
Yeah. I like the pylon. I like what it's doing for Protoss. I really like that it allows that reinforcement of zealots because I agree with everything that's been previously said. Like, there's been plenty of times results have gone to the zone, and I'm just like crying because I know it's gonna I'm probably not gonna either take that zone until turn 5 once I either kill 2 zealots or I've killed all the zealots and got a guy over them. Like that's basically the Protoss player at that point. I'm like, oh, this is awful. I have other things to kill.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Frontlines, especially for Protoss because they're mobile enough that they can usually yoink a scenario. And even if they don't, they'll just grind out 3-1. And it's hard. It's very hard to take a frontline scenario from a Protoss. So,
Yeah,
but I mean, it's good for. I think it's generally a good scenario for pretty much everybody. Like fighting over markers and keeping them is a pretty core tenet of war games.
Yeah, I think this one just is advantage Protoss. Like it might not be like a major advantage, just like Divide and Conquer like was for Zerg, but it's still like how that faction plays. They like this scenario more than some of the other ones. Apex, what do you think of Frontlines as a Zerg player playing it?
So I think if you've leaned into some of the mobility stuff, if you've got Worm, you've got a similar capability of the as the pylon to bring things in. If you've got Raptors, which are really fast and can jump kind of weird angles to markers, you can maybe find a place to steal. If it doesn't, they can't fight zealots though. Like you do not want Raptors fighting zealots.
Yeah,
that is not an ideal situation for you. So you've got some play there. I think it's not a horrible scenario by any means for you. Some of it's going to depend on your list. I think if you're spamming regular Zerglings, I think this gets kind of hard for you because they die so fast. Like they'll get on something, flip it because they're 2 supply, and then die, and it'll get flipped back on you.
Yeah, I've had like Zerglings be deployed. I got a Marine shot on them, like whittled them down like a max unit, and then they charged into something else, and it was like, okay, you're gonna get shot again, and you're basically down to like 1 or no supply at this point. Like, I don't really care about you anymore.
Yeah, Zerglings lose supply very fast. I believe it's 6 Zerglings to drop them from 2 to 1, and then 6 more to drop them to 0 off the top of my head. I should open up another window.
They are not as defensive heavy as the Zealot is comparatively to just lose 12 wounds.
Yeah, well, they don't get the evasion off of melee attacks, so like it's a nightmare matchup for them to ever try to steal that back. So that's not ideal. Yeah, it's losing 6 per supply basically. So up to 18 is 2 supply, 12 is 1 supply, 6 is 0 supply, and they're arm 6 1 HP. They die super fast. If you're a little more tanky, if you've got some roaches involved, because roaches are 8 HP on a 3-up arm save to actually drop a supply. Hydras can do damage shooting and soften up a target for you. Kerrigan is really good at getting to a zone, but she doesn't want to sit on one unless it's really safe because she's not super durable. So you're kind of in a spot where you can...
She's very good at yoinking one. She's not very good at keeping it.
Keeping it, so then it's going to get yoinked back. So, it's going to be a tight game, right? Like, if you're winning games on Frontlines as Zerg, it was probably tight, or you did the thing that occasionally happens with Zerg where, you just rolled over everything, because sometimes it happens that way when you've got the attack volume Zerg can throw out.
Yeah, or somebody just makes a mistake and into a lunge and loses a key unit. And then it just snowballs from there.
Zerg is quite good at snowballing.
Yeah, the supply mechanic does help a lot, because a lot of times you'll lose a key unit and you'll be like, all right, well, that sucked, but at least I'm going to get to deploy back up to an even playing field at least one more time. Yeah.
So the supply mechanic is a fantastic mechanic for keeping games from feeling like they're over on 1 or 2.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Does a great job at that. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious on the Terran perspective on Frontlines, because this seems vaguely horrible because of the way like Bio wants to play, where you want to push forward and then kite back. But if you're kiting back, then are you giving up the flips?
You kind of are. You're kind of just like throwing the Marauder ball up there to be your frontline tank, to just sit on the zone and just take the punishment as you try and use your other units like your Marines, your Jimmy Ray, maybe some MSU Marauders to like scalpel out stuff to either lessen it when it gets to other zones, or to try and even out the victory points by kills, and then just kind of like dumpster onto a zone to hold it. Or you kind of do a rotate. Like, we've all played a lot of war games, and something that happens in later ends of a match is that if two sides of the battle are coming at each other, you'll start seeing like the strong and weak side happen for each of the lists, and as the game goes on near the end of it, they'll rotate to like halfway across the table because like the weak side of one list has collapsed for both players. They push and rotate, and so at that rotate moment, you go and claim the other side's zones and try and pick up the points that way. But they probably already claimed your zone, so they had it earlier, so you try and like scoop that up at the end just to get those last little bit at the end to win. That's why like the movement shenanigans of the 12-inch place and Rain and Raiders drops is so powerful, just to kind of claim that stuff at the end on round 5. Because you can just do a big swing.
So you and I played Frontlines when we played in person at Adepticon.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened, actually, as I recall. My right pushed through and killed Jimmy and all your Marauders, and your left pushed through, and I had Roaches not die.
Yeah.
And that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, and I should have, that one Marauder unit, instead of pulling them back to reserve, should have just ran up that right side to just be more supply in the zone. And if that was the case, I would have been fine.
Tied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we would have tied at that point. There's not a tie break mechanic, right? I haven't missed it anywhere.
Correct. Yeah, you can tie.
Okay. Yeah, I think we would have tied because I think I won by 3, and that would have been a 3-point swing.
Yeah, probably because I had 3.
No, I think I won by 4, and you needed the supply destroyed and the flip.
Yeah.
It was really close. Yep. It was a very close game. But yeah, that's how Frontlines plays out. I think a lot is you push through, you decline a flank, you push through on the other flank. If your opponent is mobile enough to flip that on you, you end up playing a weird game on opposite sides of the table.
Yeah,
which is interesting depending on the deployment map.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what you kind of have to do in Frontlines is to just you guys kind of run around each other in a big circle, just grabbing zones and kind of like chewing up your opponent's stuff. I don't think you really want to have a static wall in defense like Hold Position does. I think you do want to move that front line around, as it says in the name of the scenario, to gain those points, because it's more advantageous you to score the 2 or the 3 points because it's 2 additional on controlling the marker when you take it from an opponent. Yeah. So it's like 3 points per marker if your opponent has. If you take it from your opponent, well, if you're just having it's only 1. What you still want to do, because you want to prevent your opponent from getting those things, so you need to stall them out as long as possible.
All right. Anything else on Frontlines?
No, I'm good. I think it's like Divide and Conquer.
8 out of 10.
Yeah, 8 out of 10.
8 for Ben. What you got, Mas?
I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I don't think it's 9, but I think it's better than Divide and Conquer. Although I did give Divide and Conquer an 8 because I think it's wild.
An 8 as well. Is 8 your final answer?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a 7 on this one as well. I like it. It does some interesting things, and I think it does some really interesting things combined with some of the deployments. And it's a fun one, and it's fairly straightforward. It's nothing's changing midway through. You're not having to remember to do weird actions. So I like this one.
It's very interesting to play it on Acropolis too.
I was thinking Acropolis or Proving Grounds.
Yeah, we'll get to Proving Grounds. Like
Ben has words for Proving Grounds. All right, Ben.
I mean, I like it more than a lot of people do. I actually generally like Proving Grounds, and I normally hate asymmetrical things. But I want to talk about Proving Grounds more. But I think we should do missions first.
Yes. All right, Ben. You get to talk about gather the resources. Read it out.
Okay, so it's start of the second round. 2 victory points for each marker associated with the opponent's color. The neutral one isn't worth any VPs. Asterisk. The neutral one, however, can be farmed by units in it with the gather action to score a victory point. And you can also gather action controlled markers of the opponent's color. So one of the things that's worth noting about this is you have to have controlled it on the previous turn and then move into it and then gather from it. It doesn't check control when you try to perform the gather action. Like a lot of people, I don't know. I guess I've seen a couple comments like asking that question. And when we first played it, I think we might have done that wrong. I think that we had like tied on it the previous turn, and we checked who was like currently leading on it. It was like our second game of StarCraft, so I don't remember that well. It also might have been an outdated version of the card that changed. I don't remember. That part doesn't really matter. I do think it's interesting that you have to have controlled it the previous turn, and it doesn't actually matter if you're losing it now. So if you control it on turn 1, and then they drop 10 supply on it on turn 2, but you have 3 units there, you can just be like, well, I'll just hoover up 3 supply before I like, I don't know, use the Daylam card to teleport all my units out. There you go, Protoss players.
So like control isn't until step 4, right? So you don't establish control till the phase 4, so you can't control anything during 1.
You can control things. Yeah, you can control things at the end of 1. You can gain control.
Right. So you can't do like the assault phase thing during 1 because you can't control it till the end of round 1.
Yep.
And then you have it until the end of round 2, which can be a little wonky to wrap your head around.
Also, another big one is unengaged units within 3. So if you're in a melee, you can't stop stabbing each other to go pick some flowers. That's a big one. Right,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, but it's all those medics that are sitting behind that wall of marauders that are just having delicious resources to chew on.
Another thing about the gathering is that if you have a unit that's down to just one model or like is worth no supply, and you're kind of like looking at it and you're like, they're not really going to contribute much to the rest of the fight, run them off back to one of the zones you captured and just have them go pick flowers. It's a great way to farm points with stuff that's kind of like that 1 or 2 Marines, that 1 Adept, all that stuff. They just go back and pick flowers, and they'll just start farming you points. So, that's a great use for them. Yeah, and your opponent has to waste shots into killing them to stop them from picking flowers.
So nothing prevents you from withdrawing from combat even at lower supply and then doing this action, correct? Because the only thing that stops is you from
charge and shooting. Yes.
Yeah, so you could do this action. Like my 0 supply roachlings could just walk away from, a 2 supply max marauders to go pick flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
The secret to life was herbalism the entire time. We got to sell this at the auction house later.
Just gotta, keep that in mind that you can do stupid stuff like this, and it might be worthwhile to get the victory points.
And the other thing is like if you've my last game I played Gather Resources, and I had Artanis chasing a unit of Raiders, and medics, and I killed Artanis because I sacrificed a unit of medics into him to kind of tie him up before he started doing his shit, and then just shot him to death eventually. So that unit of Raiders and the rest of the army had moved past that point, and that unit of Raiders basically really couldn't contribute to the rest of the fight. So I just had them sit on the zone and harvest flowers all day.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You're getting
it was like okay,
2 or 3 VP out of it. So what sort of units are good at the gather action? I guess that's the thing we should talk about, right? Because these are the things you want. A lot of your support units are going to be good at, right? Like your queen's only got a 6-inch gun, so she's not going to get to shoot that often.
Sentries is 8. It's not getting better.
Sentries isn't much better. They're great for this action. Medics are great for this action.
Medics are king of this action.
Roachlings are great for this action because, and it's like a free action for them, right? Because your corpsers go, and then your roachlings are just like, give me VP. They're fantastic. Have
the corpsers and the roachlings go and just like double.
Yeah, because roachlings gun is garbage.
Take your kid to work day.
Basically, yeah, and now you can do this multiple times on the same marker, right? As long as you have units to do it.
Any number of actions.
Any number of actions. Like these are important things to like clearly point out because you know what's going to happen. Someone's going to browse through it, and then you're going to be like, well, my corpsers and my roachlings are both going to gather because they have to go one after another. I'll take 2 VP. And somebody's going to be like, hold up here. You can do that? Yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
Not only can you do it,
probably should.
You can have summoned the roachlings the same turn in movement phase. You can move them up, summon them, and then like from nowhere.
Yeah, just gather.
Yeah.
Gather.
You imagine if someone like deployed their entire list onto one of the zones and then just did like 10 gather activations on the assault phase. It was like, hello.
That might work.
Like,
It would work, yeah. I mean, if you could get enough, if you had 2 roachlings, like let's say you just like jammed double corpsers on it, you burrow ambush 2 corpsers onto the middle on one, right? And then you have it. So then they have to kill those roachlings, and you might be able to just hide them behind a wall, and they're probably not going to kill the corpsers, and you can do it well burrowed. There's nothing stopping you from doing it well burrowed, so you can just summon roachlings, burrow, and just be like, all right, I'm going to just hoover 4 points.
While burrowed, you may only perform deployed, move, disengage, run, and hold.
Yeah, I can't do that action.
They can't do it.
Yeah. They can't do special
right, because it is an action.
It is an action, yeah.
I was going to say, it says they may perform the gather action instead. Gather action.
Yeah. You're not allowed to gather. You have to be visible, at least.
You can't get the carrot from underneath the ground. Not a rabbit.
That makes sense.
I would 100%.
Actually, it doesn't make sense for carrots. You should have gone with corn.
I don't give a shit about corn. Corn is... Actually, it is canola. Canola is the worst thing to walk through in a field, by the way.
Okay,
I mean, corn's pretty brutal, but...
It's way better than canola. I've done enough.
I'm gonna trust the surveyor on this one.
I've done enough right-of-way flagging for pipeline. Once we hit a canola field, we figured out just drive the ATV right through it. Like, it was way better.
Yeah, I've never been in a canola field, but I, live in corn country, so...
Part of your gasoline is made up of corn.
Yeah, well, the thing about corn, and I don't know if canola is the same way, but corn, traps humidity on itself, so it is so fucking hot in those fields.
I know. But canola wraps itself around your legs and ankles. You'll take about 10 steps in, and then you cannot move. You cannot go further.
That does sound worse than corn.
And if you have to traverse a field of that, putting in stakes every 50 meters, you're not going anywhere anytime soon or fast. I eventually figured out that it's actually faster to walk backwards in the canola because you push it down weirdly enough to get through it.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how bad it was.
All right.
I can also do more about canola, but let's gather that canola. Yeah. It sells for good money.
Let's gather that canola. So do we think any faction is particularly advantaged on something like Gather?
Terran.
I think Terran.
Bioball specifically?
Currently, yes.
Bioball specifically, yeah. I think medics are probably still the best thing for it. I do think Zerg does pretty well. Just because
bring your kid to work
there are
day.
I've played a lot of games where my roaches just don't do anything. They sit on a marker and are just chill. They don't really have any interest in getting off that marker. Their range is super short. If they're not in charge range, they don't really want to charge. So there are a lot of turns where you're just like, all right, I'll just eat some VPs. And they can get on the markers quickly, obviously, because of burrow ambush.
Even regular roaches, shooting isn't that good. It's 9 shots on a 3-up, no surge if you didn't buy it, 1 damage, 8 range 8. It's not bad. You're not going to be like, well, I'm never going to shoot with these. Corpses you may not ever shoot with because they're 2, but it's not like you're giving up a huge amount of offense if you opt to take the VP instead. Vials are a little bit better at shooting because they get up to 12 shots per the whole unit. Still, unless you bought it, no surge, 1 damage, range 8. But that's an amount of output you can probably afford to sacrifice for VP on a lot of turns.
Yeah. Yeah, I think roaches are in a place right now in the game where they're just very well positioned for overall power. I mean, honestly, to some extent, adepts are kind of similar. A lot of times you care more about putting out a spooky ghost than you do about the adepts, getting involved.
That's fine.
So a lot of times an adept can just hang back and they'll be like, hey, I'll be over here. I put my ghost out. I guess I'll chow on some markers.
So here's the thing about spooky ghosts. When you set a spooky ghost, do you need line of sight to where you're setting it, or does it just check within 12? Don't ask you this question. Please edit this out.
I think you probably don't need line of sight for it.
Okay.
Because it is setting, and setting is literally just defined as can you put the thing there? it's within range of this unit. You get into weird stuff where if it needs line of sight, then like burrow ambush doesn't get blocked if you just can be out of LOS. So you can go to like 1 inch away from things.
Oh yeah, we discussed behind the wall thing, like one of our games of like they burrow behind a wall. It's only 4 inches away from the unit they want to charge.
Yeah, and then you get into other weird stuff too, where like psionic presence, friendly units targeting an enemy unit within 4 of the shade gain precision 1. Who needs line of sight with this? Like, does the adept unit need to be able to see?
Oh god,
the shade and the enemy? Like, friendly and enemy are both capitalized, therefore they're both targeted by this ability. So they both theoretically need line of sight to it, but like, we're pretty sure that the intention here is that the enemy unit needs line of sight to the shade.
But
it's weird, right? Like, some of these things are going to need FAQs because it's just not that clear. I mean, obviously the Artanis one comes up all the time. I think it's pretty clear that the place 0 is supposed to be in base to base, because anything else, it's the one that requires the least change to rules, I guess, because you would either have to like give displacement to the lead model of the unit that you're removing in order for him to be able to place, which would be fine. He could say that. He could say, like, when he's on deploy from reserves, give displacement to one unit, place Artanis, perform a place 0 from a model in that unit, and then return that unit to reserves. And that would be fine if it had displacement, but it doesn't do that. So, I don't know. These are rules questions that are very hard to answer, and frankly, like, I would play Shade as not needing line of sight. I would play Psionic Presence as needing line of sight to the Shade. I would play a Psionic Transfer, at least we know, intends to get it, like, when you teleport the unit in, we know that is intended to go into engagement range. Like, you're allowed to. It just follows all the rules for setting up incoherency, and that's it. It doesn't have any restrictions. So as long as you legally set up incoherency of the shade token, you're good. Phase Prism, I say just put them into base to base. Like, that's the last version of the ability that worked, and it's the shortest departure from the actual text. It doesn't require creating other rules. It just requires treating place 0 as place base to base.
Yeah. I don't think we're really. Yeah, it's like we're just content creators. We're not the rules people. This needs to be going to the developers of the game.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Like, there's little things that need cleanup to just make it a lot smoother. But the core of the game works really well.
And realistically, it's very easy to just play those abilities that way, and just live in that world and let it kind of be chill. Because like, the abilities work if we can, as a community, all agree that they work away, then that will help, right? Because then we won't have people reporting vastly different results.
Yeah. We good on gather the resources, gentlemen? Want to move on, or does anyone else have anything else to say?
We have to give it scores.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I give it like a 5, because there's a lot of armies can't really, like, half the markers are just not really functional.
Oh yeah,
without a special condition.
Yeah. Apex?
I will also give it a 5. I think that's a reasonable score. I think it's an interesting mission. I think there's things you can do on it, but yeah, a bunch of the markers basically don't matter, which is weird.
I'm going to give it a 6 simply because I play a faction that really wants it. I have had games on it where I have gone for those markers to score with gather the resources, and because of how the game is going and the things I need to do, I just did not have an opportunity to use the gather action for additional VPs. So like, if your opponent's pushing into you, you might need those activations instead to actually go get work done or to move around. So the gather action cannot just not come up in a game completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still like it. Cool.
This one does interest me that the neutral doesn't score. Like that is actually fairly interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my biggest complaint is probably that the neutral zone isn't worth anything without the gather action, which means a lot of the time you can kind of ignore it because, like Mass just said, if your opponent needs their actions for other things, the neutral one is gonna have a hard time.
Like if the neutral zone is a house and you're just sitting on the side on the boulevard with a gun and just waiting for the homeowner to walk out to get their mail, you kind of have the neutral on lockdown because they don't want to leave to not stop gathering their mail while you can just like shoot at them.
Yep.
Yeah, the scenario is almost totally asymmetric, right? Because you're both going after different objectives almost entirely.
Yeah.
You don't score your own, you don't score the neutral, so you're only going after the opponent's killer, which they really only want to keep you off of it. But like you could play this scenario and barely fight.
That would be such a weird, like, just like math hammer it out kind of thing where it's like, okay, I've deployed 6 MSUs. They've now ganged up on this one scenario to pick flowers. That's 6 points plus 2. And your opponent does the same, but they use some big units because that's what their list has. So they're mathematically losing points. So at now point, they have to pivot to either go get the other zone or to try and stop you from just keep gathering flowers. What's just like, it's not.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to put it down as a 5. It doesn't force conflict. If you really want to math hammer this scenario, it does not force conflict like the other two did. Or the other.
Hear me out. Two queens, 9 units of roaches.
No, 9 units of corpsers.
Like something.
We need the kids.
I don't think you can play that many corpsers, but as many corpsers as you can get to make that fit. So you just have so many actions.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Like, it can be a scenario where it doesn't force conflict, and you're like, okay, you can have your 2 zones. I'll fight. Like, you can have. I'm blue, right? You can have the blue zones. I'll take the red zones, but I'm going to be able to get on them on 1 because I'm going to burrow ambush roaches into those 2 in the middle. And then turn 2, I'm going to start scoring, and you are just 1 turn slower about getting to those zones. So therefore, I'm 3 points ahead on by turn 2, and it's insurmountable.
Yep. Like Gauntlet on this because your zones are closer to you. What's a good one? Breach. You can get to your opponent's zone on Breach and Acropolis? No, not Acropolis. Breach, Proving Grounds, and Typhoon. You could probably get to a zone and then start harvesting the crap out of for 2. Like, get it on 1.
I mean, yeah, like you can get on. In Gauntlet, it's harder, right? Obviously, you don't want to be doing it on Gauntlet.
No, because just ask your opponent to shoot you in the face.
Right, but like Typhoon and Acropolis and Proving Grounds, you can all of them can very reasonably steal a zone or 2.
Fascinating. We should play Gather sometime, Mass. You can play your Marines versus actually a fairly regular Zerg list. I don't know how this goes.
I literally played it last game
scenario.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
and it really came down to. I am gathering. My opponent is gathering. What if I just run the big ball of Marauders and Marines into my friendly zone that my opponent is gathering to stop that shit?
Yeah.
And then I came in with a proxy barracks and stole his zone from underneath his nose in the back end in the last like turn or 2 to capitalize on 2 points. It was like, all right, cool.
That's why we like proxy barracks.
Yeah, I've changed my tune on proxy barracks. I love it. It's great.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I did.
It doesn't come up that often, but there are times where it's just best. The best.
Still has go. Still is 2 CP. And the times that side deploy matters, it's great. Do it.
Yep.
Hold position.
So hold position is an easy one, right? Like, it's score markers. They're worth, like, score your opponents and score yours. Like, yours and neutral are worth 1, opponents are worth 2.
Kill points. Done.
Very simple. It's a good scenario, right? Like, this is a benchmark scenario. I'd give it a solid 6. It's not especially interesting, but everybody plays it pretty evenly. And it is a control zone scenario, and I honestly like it's well designed, but it's not that interesting. It's very straightforward.
I
Which is
think
great for testing lists, but not great for like trying to mess up your opponents.
No, hold is a standard-ish scenario. It's standard game length, standard supply, VP for enemy destroyed. Get to your opponent's colors if you can to score the extra VP. There's nothing special about it. It's the sort of scenario that has to exist, and no one minds playing it. But this is your standard game, right? If you're teaching someone the game, do it on hold position.
Yep. And it's good. Like, I think all three factions want to play on this, have a plan and want to play on hold position. I don't think it favors either it either favors or unfavors either faction and either list. And this is just something everyone should be able to play and have fun on. Like, I agree with you guys. It's that middle ground scenario that just exists as I think this is like the baseline. This is your baseline test of all the other scenarios is based off hold position in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also call it a solid 6.
About it is I think so many lists are going to take it as one of their two scenarios that you're going to play it a lot.
What's
because
fine.
if you don't like the two that they're playing, it's going to be very easy to just be like, all right, we'll banish the two non-hold position scenarios.
So I do think you can avoid putting hold into most lists as an option if you've prepared for the other ones.
I agree. I just think that you're going to play it a lot.
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah, it'd be, it's going to be one of your options for the two that are being chosen an awful lot. I'm assuming, but I mean, as a standard scenario, it's not boring either.
It's a good scenario. You're just going to play it a lot.
Yeah, I also
think it is going to be one of those that's going to be in a lot of lists. So you're going to see it a lot, and a lot of the time, you're going to be like, well, I either have to play something that's bad for me, or I play hold position. I guess I'll play hold position.
But I also think hold position is going to change based upon what deployment you get. It's a different game per deployment because of how different each of the deployments is. So it's not going to feel samey over and over and over again. Because if you're playing hold position on War Machine, you're doing a gauntlet deployment every single time in War Machine. So hold position isn't going to be as grindy and monotonous as it maybe was in War Machine, like Three Flags.
Oh, Three Flags.
The glory of Three Flags. I think I hated Three Flags, and then I started to love Three Flags, and that's when you got to learn. That's when you know you have a serious War Machine problem. Anyway.
You start loving it because other people haven't played it, so you have an advantage on it because you've just played it more.
Mass, tell us you're scoring this one a 6 as well, because that's what we both did, and that's kind of what this scenario deserves.
It does deserve a 6, but it's like the fundamental baseline. Like, I would give it a 7 because like it's like everything else is based off this motherfucker. Like, he deserves to be up front in the front of class.
That's why it's a 6 for me.
Okay,
yeah, it's the standard. It's
fine. He can be a 6.
Really, it should be a 5 by that logic.
Okay, he's a 5. You know what? I changed mine to 5.
Going from a 7 down to a 5.
Yeah, look at that. I would say divide and conquer, 7 front lines. Oh no, we said gather.
You called divide and conquer an 8. I know because I have it all noted down.
Front lines. What did I say for front lines? Was that a 7 or an 8?
You called that an 8 as well.
Yeah, they are 8s in my eyes. Gather the resource for sure is like a 6 or a 5. This one has.
You gave it a 5.
Now let's talk about our fan favorite, supply drop.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think hold person at 6 is fair because it is better than gather.
There you go.
Well, because sometimes you just don't gather, and it sometimes forces you not to like interact with your opponent at all. Like, I like it, but it needs a way to interact with your opponent more. If you scored 1 point on your zone, but also could only gather on the enemy, then it forces conflict.
Yeah.
Like, there was the War Machine Dominion card game, and you would put out areas to fight based on how many players there were. So if you had 4 players, you had 4 places to fight. But that doesn't instigate conflict at all, because each player goes to one of the 4 places and claims it for points. So what you would actually do is you would do players -1. So you'd have 3 cards for the 4 players, so that there's always a conflict going on.
I mean, I learned something today.
What's that?
That there was a War Machine card game.
It was Dominion. It was literally like a Dominion with a... You do the deck building portion of Dominion, and then you deploy your forces to various war zones. It was actually kind of good and fun.
It was actually
card
fun,
game was very fun. Supply drop.
Yeah.
Supply drop.
Ben,
we've already talked a
one.
lot about supply drop.
No, but now we got to
we've already gone over this. 2 out of 10. Only because you can do something worse. Like it is a playable scenario. But it is high randomness, and it alters the game in a way that I don't think is positive.
No.
Okay, so there's a couple of things about supply drop we should probably talk about, though. So, can you control a deactivated mission marker?
You know what? Yes.
Yes. Because that's a question that's come up a bunch. As far as anyone can tell, there is no reason you cannot control one. You just can't score it till it activates. So you can sticky control these and have one when it flips. The other thing that's weird about supply drop that's buried in here is the auto win on this is by 12 VPs instead of 10 like the others.
Probably because it knows that you could get fucked on it.
But still, I mean, if you're down 11, I think you're fucked anyway, aren't you?
Yeah, you're not coming back from being down 11. I think it's just a little bit more. I mean, I guess maybe you could be down like 2 or 3 kill supply, and then like they get the like 3-point marker or something. They got like the 2 and 3, and then like it could maybe be enough ahead. I don't know. I don't actually. Can you even get ahead by 12 on this without killing stuff?
Yeah, you score 1, 2, if it's 3, 3 is 6, 4, 6 and 4. 10. So yeah, so that's probably why. So if you score 1, 2, 3, 4, then you don't do the 5th round because you have the 10 points, and let's say no one's killed each other for a supply for some reason, you could do it. So it forces the players to actually kill something, or they have to play all 5 rounds to get each marker. That might be why it's 12.
This is also the only objective control one where you score the objectives on 1, which actually is a little interesting.
Yeah, that is a little bit interesting.
Yeah. All right, you called it a 2. I'm going to call it a 4. I think there is interest to this, even if I don't think it's a good scenario, and I don't want to play it because I despise the random rolling nonsense. Mass, what you got for us?
I think it's a 4 just to screw over with your big fish in your pond kind of scenario. Like, this is 100%. You bring this because you know you keep getting paired into the big fish round 3 in a local tournament, and you bring this just to fuck with them so that you can get a win.
Well, I mean, again,
I'm
they don't have to play it.
So I'm going to lower mine down to -1. I'm going to leave it
at 2. -1. Do you want it to be 1 or 2?
I give it
no, I think 2. I think that it could absolutely be worse. Okay. I do think that there is some interesting play to it, and I don't think it's like horrible design in a concept. I just don't like the way it affects like the game, and it makes the game feel very different.
So I've been averaging our scores because I, have fun with that. So we like Frontlines the most, apparently, with an average of 7.67, and Divide and Conquer with a 7.33.
Oh, thank goodness!
I think I agree with that. Like,
yeah,
of course I agree with it because Frontlines is ahead because I rated it higher.
I rated them the same because I think they're both just interesting. Like, there's a lot going on that makes those scenarios fun to play.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the shorter game length and higher starting supply makes Divide and Conquer, I guess, a little bit less playable for a lot of lists, right? Like if you're planning on a 6 supply list, Divide and Conquer can be a problem for you. And I don't really like that. I kind of wish that we just had 5 turn games that were 6-2 all the way through.
Yeah, although I mean, at least there's some interest, and I think if you're maintaining this whole draft thing through an event, you can throw Divide and Conquer in as part of your list pair and try to play it on the round before lunch. So you only have to play 4 rounds before lunch and get the longer lunch.
Yeah,
that is an Apex Chinchilla move, though, to maximize the food break.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's value to that, but honestly, I feel like playing something like Frontlines or Hold Position might actually play faster. Like
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily faster. I just felt like throwing that one out there. We're gonna call it the McDonald's scenario. Although I don't eat fast food, so you know.
Yeah, you have. We went to McDonald's on our sweaty truck trip.
As much as I can avoid it. Did we go to a McDonald's or a Wendy's?
No, it was a McDonald's.
Was it? That might have been the first time I ate McDonald's in like 20 years.
I wouldn't be surprised. I got introduced to some American culture in that McDonald's. I was like, wow, this is actually happening.
Well, we went to a Culver's too, because you don't have Culver's in Canada. If you're not from the Midwest, Culver's is actually a decently solid fast food burger.
Oh, you're right, we did.
Yeah,
it was very delicious.
Culver's is the best fast food burger in the U.S. And I will fight Five Guys people. I will fight In-N-Out people. I did a year where I went to both coasts within the same year. Like, we drove out to the Gold Coast to get married, and then we moved to North Carolina the same year. So I have been literally one end of the country to the other in the same year in a car, and I have eaten at every burger joint along the way. And if you don't think Culver's is the best one of all of the fast food chains, you need to go to Culver's again. I guess I don't really know, or like I don't get a taste budectomy.
Can you go outside the Waffle House and start fighting people?
Probably.
I cannot fight people at Waffle House. Do you think I could take Waffle House Wendy? No way.
No way.
I mean, I assume anybody fighting outside of the Waffle House is probably high on meth, and you just do not want that smoke.
Exactly.
I remember going to Adepticon the first time, and we went to a pancake house or whatever, or like an IHOP. It was an IHOP.
Yeah,
Which an IHOP, and I read the sign. It was like no concealed guns, and I'm like, this is a sign that would never appear in Canada. Just like, what is happening at this IHOP?
So I've never had In-N-Out or Whataburger, so I can't say that Culver's is better than those. But I'm going to throw it out here. Five Guys is not that good considering how much Five Guys charges you.
Yeah, Five Guys is significantly worse than Culver's and triple the cost. Probably double.
I mean, for Five Guys prices, you can go to an actual restaurant.
Yep.
Can I say something? I've never been to a Five Guys. I've just never had four other guys with me at the time to go to one.
Yeah.
No, I've just never gone.
Classic.
So I've never tried it, and I was just like, I don't really care.
You're with four other guys all the time. You work in like construction.
Yeah, but there's not a Five Guys around in the middle of the oil field. They have a Tim Hortons.
They have a Timmy's.
There is. It got so bad. I've told you the stories of where like progression and work was getting delayed because of all the Tim's runs.
All the Timmy's runs, yeah.
Yeah. They would back that line up. They'd have a 15-minute break. That line would be backed up for an hour.
I don't think we're going to get to deployments, guy.
I was just about to ask. I think we've got about a half hour. Do we want to save deployment for next episode so we can talk about like the map and then which missions you might want to choose that map for?
I think that is the correct choice. We shouldn't overload it. We tried to make BonkTable podcast a little more digestible, and so that Ben can get to his bedtime. So I think this is probably a good place to cut it off. And I will keep the spreadsheet with the scores on there. Yeah. So I am having fun scoring them. Yeah. I find it interesting that Gather is just a 5. I think we decided that 6 is sort of average. Like, 6 is fun. It's good. You're not going to be pissed off playing a 6 afterward. Yep. Yeah, 6 is there's nothing like that exciting about this, but there's also nothing bad. Right, like I'm happy to play any of the 6s. I'd be happy to play a 6. Gather I'm fine with, but I'm not that excited about it because I think most of the time the special part of Gather isn't that interesting. And so here's what I've got. My missions are going to be Gather and Supply Drop, and I am always going to try to be the one who bans out the other 2. So we just play the 2 shitty missions. I mean, I guess I'll play Gather against you a bunch. Yeah. Just play Gather. Oh, Lord. Just trying to
No, I
stay
mean,
from
yeah,
away
Gather
from
at least
blocks
has
so much.
interesting things because it's got decisions for when you're gathering and what you're gathering with.
Yeah, no, there's at least play to it. It's just very easy for it to not come up, and that's my problem with it, right? Like, I think that puts it on kind of the lower end of scenarios where the action is expensive and not rewarding enough. I mean, I don't know, like, you can't have it be more rewarding than a VP. That's the weird thing.
We could have it 2 VP.
If it was 2 VP, it would be like absurdly problematic.
Yeah. There's
So
it's more expensive than units for scoring.
Yep.
Okay, so hear me out. What if the gather was 1 VP if you're gathering on your friendly objectives? So now there's a reason to actually engage with them, and 2 VP if you gather on the neutral, since the neutral cannot be controlled.
Yeah, I think the neutral should be 2 VP to gather.
Just
even with no other changers.
That would at least force some more conflict. I think that would just the neutral being 2 VP because it would force a little more conflict in the middle of the table. That would probably get me to bump it toward a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I've played the scenario multiple times where there has been no gathers.
Yeah. Because you're coming down from you're jamming your Protoss down my throat, and it's like, wow, this is so fun.
You heard it here. Mass likes Protoss down his throat.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
He specifically said he didn't like it.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with me?
Do you need to go back to the bunk beds?
I mean, the bunk beds were where we discovered you were a bottom.
Oh my god. I love how you had a bet with your wife. It's like, oh yeah, I'm staying with bunk beds with Mass. It's like, yeah, I'm taking the bet that he's at the bottom. Then you got there and I was like, I'm not getting on the shitty ladder. That ladder sucked.
The ladder sucked and the beds were kind of on an angle, so it was a little bit interesting.
Yeah, and you were like rolling to one side. I rolled to one side and had to roll my way back every night.
The bunk beds are way more fun when you're a kid than when you're in your 30s.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw that out there.
Yeah. It was wild though. We were just like we were two kids there.
Adepticon was a great time though.
Oh yeah. Loved Adepticon. That was fun.
Ben just didn't decide to come out for Adepticon. Things going on.
Yeah, what was your excuse this time?
Real life.
There wasn't any game I wanted to play, and I didn't care enough to buy models early to spend like $1,000.
That's fair.
Fair. That's entirely reasonable.
Like,
it's like a 3-hour drive.
I had no reason not to go other than I didn't have enough reason to go for the costs. Like, I'd rather spend that on like terrain, and I bought the Toric mat and objectives. And like I was like, I'll spend the money that I'm saving by buying this all-in bundle and not going to Adepticon to purchase things that I want for the game.
When your Mac and objectives come, we'll need a review on the next podcast after they get there.
Yeah, they just charged me. It took them like a week to print them.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, it's coming from like France, right?
Yeah, and then they're shipping from France. I don't even have a delivery yet.
I'm on the website right now, so like this is recorded for YouTube, and I just like share my screen while going through the app for people who want to put up on a second monitor. But yeah, no, there's some nice stuff here. Battle map inspired Tau Outpost. Is this the actual? No, this is 40K.
Yeah.
Starcraft.
Well, I'd assume 3D6 Wargaming will have stuff fairly soon for North America. Because
I like the zones. They're like supposed to be buildings or mineral fields, and you get a map for like €66. That's actually pretty good.
So
the problem is shipping was 40.
3D6 Wargaming does have objective zone sets are up available now.
I do love how it's in French, and I'm like, I know, because I'm Canadian, I know enough French to kind of sort of read it. I'm like, I understand what this means. La neoprene.
I mean, I think I could have gotten that one. Sans Haus de Transport.
Starcraft compatible natural.
I hope that's what it is too. Is it lead neoprene?
Hold on, let me.
It says neoprene / mousepad.
I like how you're saying neoprene in a bad French accent.
It has accent marks on it. That's why
it has accent marks. Perfect.
Yeah, it's N-E with an accent, O-P-R-E with a reverse accent, N-E.
So they tried to recreate the ramp from. I love the StarCraft compatible natural platform. They tried to recreate the ramp, and so they took the picture out of the army or the map builder or terrain builder from the app or the army builder app, and have it in part of like trying to sell it to showcase like how they made it. And I'm kind of like, yeah, it's fine, it looks good, it's natural, and then the other one's like a rocky thing. How much is this? We already got the Eric hobby box, or the Elric hobby box.
Yeah, and honestly, that thing's really good. I'm very happy with it.
I showed that thing to my buddy, and he was like, "Whoa, have you played Trench Crusade on this?" I'm like, "No, it's for StarCraft, dude. We could play Trench Crusade on it, but no, this is StarCraft."
And it is. So I'm putting I'm just gonna cut out some of the pieces of that are supposed to be the land pieces, the walkways, and I'm gonna just turn those into ladders and call them ladders that are to jump up.
Yeah, the straight pieces actually will just kind of lean against the building. I threw some sticky tack on them to hold them in place better. That works fine.
Oh
yeah. They just lean there. They're a ramp. They are not 3 inches wide though.
Make them 3 inches wide.
You have to put 2 of them together on each of the sides of the the order.
And you don't get enough for that. I'd have to send them an email ask them if they'll just sell me more of the straight pieces.
By the way, their battle maps, if you go through them and pick your size, they do have StarCraft compatible for an extra 3.33 euros. So you can get the other designs.
Any of their mats, yeah.
Oh, that's fun. Well, sometimes I was looking at this Lost Temple one, and I was like, okay, yeah, the Lost Temple one is specifically for StarCraft. But then they have a bunch of other ones, like the Tau, they're all do it. I'm like, oh, okay, because sometimes they just don't do it.
Yeah, no, I like that I'm going to go with the Lost Temple, and I also got the objectives that just look like minerals. I thought about getting the Protoss Shield ones, but I actually had a problem with them where I didn't like the way the numbers looked under the shield. It was a little harder to read them. I wanted the objective zone number to be a little bit more easily readable.
Okay, so there's the Zerg one, the Terran one, which is just a supply depot, the power field. Okay, I can see they're behind the power field, so yeah, okay, I get that. The mineral ones
the supply depot looks good, but it's a little weird because it does kind of look like you're standing on a building. The Zerg ones look great. I love the Zerg ones, but I'm not a Zergling. I mean, I guess it is one of the 2 factions I own. So, or will own.
The creep token, I think I don't think the creep.
Don't buy it.
Yeah, you're gonna use a token. The things are gonna move around too much, and you gotta replace the models. Just get a token and drop it in.
Yeah, you're going to often place creep where models are, so you don't want to have to pick them up and put a 6-inch, plus 28 millimeters circle on. 25, whatever, doesn't matter. Underneath models, don't do that. Just use creep tokens as they are. Measure them. Maybe get one of those 3D. Get a 3D printed one that has a couple of lines that go out and is mostly to show the circle. But I still don't like that either. I'd avoid it.
You can use the Zerg thing because it has a circle in the middle. It looks like a hole. I thought they were selling CDs for a moment, to be honest. Why the fuck do they have a hole in the middle of each of these? Now that I think about it, why do they need a hole?
For what?
That's probably where the base goes. So then you can put a marker in the middle that's the size of a base.
Oh, to see if you've claimed it or not, like the faction indicator.
Yeah. So that you can put a faction indicator in.
So funny thing, I got a guy came to me and he was like, because you can put the faction indicators down and they don't get removed if they're on mission markers, the dropship faction indicator should be able to stay turn to turn, so you keep dropshipping it. I'm like, no, buddy. I'm sorry, man. That's not gonna fly for anybody. I think we're thinking a little too hard.
He's not wrong, right? Technically, it probably needs a clarification, but it's people aren't going to play that way, and I don't even think it's that strong in general because it makes like the areas you can do them so niche that it's probably not even really worth doing. But it's also not going to happen. Like that's not what the game is going to be, and it. I just don't think it's worth your time to like play games with that rule because it's not how the rules are going to work. And if you're playing the game with rules not how they're going to work, then like I guess if you play a tournament and they allow it, go nuts, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yep. Oh, one's
If I'm playing a
two-sided.
tournament, I'm playing a tournament. Like I'll play by whatever rules the tournament has decided. But that's a different thing.
Cool. Let's wrap it up there.
All right.
All right. Thank you for listening to our wonderful podcast about mission cards. Next time we'll talk about the deployments and all that. I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I hope my co-hosts had fun. Anything you guys want to plug?
No, like and subscribe to BonkTable wherever you listen to your podcasts. And Competent Conquest. Subscribe to Competent Conquest on YouTube because that's where Ben puts all of his content.
Yeah. Do that. Subscribe to BonkTable on YouTube as well, because actually that's where you'll see even more of my games on BonkTable.
Yep.
I guess that's not entirely true, but there is a game that will go up on BonkTable that I was not able to stream. Partially, like my internet was being a little wonky that day, and partially it was just like kind of a last minute game that happened. So I didn't really have any sort of like plans. And I wasn't set up to stream it, so
he was playing on his couch, probably.
No, I was playing on my normal computer. I probably should have just streamed it. I like to advertise it. I like to post the lists on there. I like to do all of the things prior to streaming it. And we were like planning that game already late at night because like my D&D game fell through, as they often do. And you were on. It's like, all right, whatever. Let's play some StarCraft.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah, it was a good game too. So check that one out on BonkTable when it comes out.
I made a thumbnail for this one, right? Oh, I might not. I have a thumbnail. I've moved a bunch of stuff to my hard drive or my external hard drive to free up some space. But yeah, I think the thumbnail for that one's also pretty good. Go pick it up. That's the game I'm working on, but I have to make a thumbnail. External BonkTable archive. The game. What date did we play that on?
It was Tuesday, so the 21st.
Oh, it's this one. Yes, it is. It is the Protoss being the cook.
Oh yeah, Protoss versus because you played Zerg in that.
Yeah, because we agreed that next time we play, I was gonna play Zerg just to like have some fun. Yeah, it's the chef toss.
Yeah, I gotta play more Terran because I don't know. I'm seeing a lot like people's comments on results with Terran are different than my experiences with Terran, so I have to play Terran more to figure out how they're getting them.
Okay, so how about this? Next time we play a game, because you and I like to play a lot. We will swap. You will give me whatever you plan to play that day, and you can play whatever I plan to play that day. Because I'll probably play Terran.
Yeah, I mean, I will happily play Terran against you playing like Protoss or Zerg or something in our next game.
Yeah.
But I have some like weird ideas for Terran. I sent you that 14 supply Terran list, and I'm really curious about that list.
Yes,
I want to play it.
I was moving today, or not? Sorry, I wasn't moving. I was helping my friends move, so I was busy. And you were like, you sent me a bunch of stuff, and I was like, I will read this in a bit.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a rush. Like,
yeah. I did read it, and I kind of do agree with you just slapping shields onto guys, because like big Marines with shields are gonna get charged in melee. So having the shield to just like absorb the hits will do, and also they don't necessarily need to stem pack, just because they'll like you stem pack if you have medics around who can heal it off, but like you kind of want to keep those cards for the reduction of like the damage reduction heal during the assault or the any phase, so that the Marines can like stay more alive and reduce the impacts or attacks or whatever's happening to them. But that combat shield with the big Marine also keeps them alive into melee, and those big Marines are most likely going to get slopped into melee, so it's fine. And then so like,
people are going to charge them.
Yeah.
The one thing I really like about big Marines, in addition to just being 2 supply, so they're harder to take, is that something charges in, and you're not going to lose very many of them on impacts. And like even though you're giving up evades, the output from 9 Marines is usually just so high.
Oh, you can break through the Protoss shields. I played that big Marauder, big Marine list into a Protoss the other day, and it was so nice having the Marines just like break through the Protoss shields and like kill 2 Adepts right off the bat. And it was like, oh, their damage is significantly reduced. What they're going to be contributing to the rest of the battle is going to be significantly reduced, where now this big unit of Marines can actually kind of just run around and start just beating the crap out of people. Like, it was so nice. And like Zealots charged into them. I was like, okay. Basically took no damage from the impact, lost 2 Marines from their attacks, and then just blew up 2 Zealots and was like, all right, you're down to a Zealot, and I have like 7 Marines. They're ready to just gun you down.
Yeah, so like if you get charged, like let's say you have shield up, and you get charged by Life or Ire Zealots, they're going to do 6 impacts. You're going to save a third of those, then you're going to save a third of those, then you're going to take 0 damage because you're going to medic it. Right? Then you're going to drop 18 shots on them. And it's like that's pretty brutal. You're going to hit with 12 of them, and they're going to save like 4, and then they're going to save another like 1 1/3. So they're going to take 6-7 damage from that and be down a guy before melee a lot of the time. And if you stimmed, they'll be almost for sure down a full guy.
Yeah.
And half dead, right? Like with Stim, they're gonna take 8, which is more than half that unit, and they're gonna be half dead. And they didn't do anything to you. Like it cost you 3 cards, maybe 4, but that's pretty brutal. Being a unit of Marines that can sit on a zone, be the same CP as Zealots, and just be like, I'm here.
Yeah, like I'm finding more value with big Marines with combat shield, but it's always it comes down to the cards, because you want cards to like if you're using in your list you're not using big Marauders, you're just using Marauders in the back, so you're not really concussion shotting stuff, so that saves cards.
Yep, that was part of the reason.
Yeah, you have Jimmy.
You just send me like big Marine spam.
Yeah, I also posted it in our podcast chat, so you had you knew what we were talking about, Apex. But like,
there's no shields on these though, is there?
I know, but he can drop some stuff to get shields.
Yeah,
you just drop a grenade launcher and 1 advanced medic facility to throw shields on everybody.
So the big Marines, if they get charged by roaches, are like a 50-50 to kill a single roach.
What's normal?
I figured you would just hate that.
Well, I know.
I know how much you love shooting roaches.
But here's the thing with big Marines: they're 2 supplies, so they can back up. I could just back out an inch.
Back up.
Yeah, like I don't.
They get charged again.
But, yeah, that's the problem.
Or you
get cycle charged,
or just stay there. It doesn't matter if they just stay there. They're beating the roaches. That's the thing.
Yeah, you're scoring through the roaches if you got onto the zone. What you don't want is roaches to hold you for 3 turns, not on a zone.
Yeah,
right. But if you're scoring and they're not, and nothing else is happening to you, you don't really care. You're winning the game.
Do you charge in with the Marines to get on zones into roaches and then not have the Hydra shoot you because they can't?
I would absolutely do this. Yes.
Yeah. If they had combat shields, yeah. How do you protect yourself?
Well, I mean, the roaches aren't doing shit to you. So
no, and then if they try and run away, it's like, oh, you don't get to charge, you don't get to shoot, you don't get to, you could spawn children, and that's about it because you're probably a corpser.
Yeah. I think the only concern you'd have with charging the Marines forward into roaches is, does that Zerg list have enough other stuff to potentially punish you later when you can't just shoot something that also dives in at you? Like, there has to be a end of assault phase sort of move.
I mean, maybe, right? Like, let's say you get charged by, so you have shields up, right? You charge some roaches. The Hydras can't shoot you. They charge you with Zerglings. Zerglings don't even kill a guy.
I was thinking more like Kerrigan jumps on you.
Okay. I mean, she doesn't do that much to them either.
Yeah, I think at that point you'll just start losing enough of them and potentially lose the zone.
The thing is, if Kerrigan jumps on Marines, she dies. Like, if she's jumping on that 9-man, there's a really good chance she doesn't live through that.
He'll be, let's see what she's at.
Especially, let's assume crit 2 from Jimmy or something, because if we're adding a character in.
It just depends on how much damage she does in combat. Because as soon as you lose a couple of them, then it's harder to just one round. Well, I guess you get the melee too. Yeah,
I mean, they're shooting her the turn she jumps in, though. Like, they've already.
No, I'm saying you got to be careful the timing of that, because you don't want to dive in and then get comboed on by somebody like Kerrigan or like Kerrigan's Swarm, where they're able to get combat on you before you can shoot them because you already charged in.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, even if Kerrigan is hitting you,
specific portion.
Yeah, Kerrigan's Swarms are the problem. The instant is definitely the biggest problem. Kerrigan's not actually that big of a deal, because you're still going to get evades against them. So she's going to do 2 to 3 hits, right? And you're going to evade them, and you're going to take 4, and then you're going to just medic it down to 1, because this is a triple medic list.
Wild, but also funny.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, does she just ignore you and jump on the medics first?
Probably.
That's
Because what I think
you're going to be mingled in with other Marines or with like Jimmy or something like that.
Now you're getting a little too far.
Are you just dropping 2 big Marines, 2 medics,
2 big Marines, triple medics, turn 1? That's the play.
Jesus Christ! Okay.
2 big Marines, Jimmy, and 3 medics.
Yeah, especially with the changes, giving them all the big Marine shields and dropping an advance. You have the points to do it. That's your 6 supply. And then if you're playing Divine
if you drop advance, you'll only get the 2 medics, right? Or the 3 medics. You won't get Jimmy on 1.
No, you won't get Jimmy.
Yeah, you either give up. It's either 2 medics and Jimmy, or 3 medics. Though you can actually just drop the flare upgrades and have 1 unit without shields, which might actually be better.
Yeah.
Potentially.
So I don't know. There's play there. It's an interesting list. I don't know how good it is, but I definitely want to play it.
Okay, when are you free?
That's a good question.
I go back to work on Wednesday. I love how we're still recording. Like, this is just bonus for everyone.
I was going to say, are we still recording?
I gotta go, actually.
100%. But you have to go to bed. But you have to answer this question, then we'll wrap it up.
I don't have an answer for it. Probably possibly tomorrow night. I will try to make tomorrow night happen. We'll see what I can do.
I'm busy tomorrow night. I have to go to some fun adventure thing with the girlfriend.
Okay, then we're probably. I mean, we're probably boned then, because I've got plans Tuesday and Wednesday night. I mean, you're going back Wednesday morning anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might have to be a couple weeks.
That's fine. I'll be back on the 18th. I have to do a little bit of a longer shift this time, but I should be home on the 18th. What is the Monday? Yeah. Fine.
Okay. Yeah, we can probably get a game in by then. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Again, thanks for listening. Enjoyed our ramblings. Everybody out there, go ahead and try the 4 large Marines list, and let me know how it goes.
I didn't showcase it to people here.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah, they can figure it out. It's 4 large marines with slugs and shields. Like, there's not like a lot of other choices.
Yeah. There's the list. Figure it out. Just flash it on the screen for everyone. Okay, I'm stopping recording. Bye.